Welcome back to the Upside Down Kingdom. We are landing right in the middle of episode 5 of 15, and we are still firmly planted in phase 1, personal idols.
We certainly are. And if you're just joining us, you've missed some serious demolition work.
Seriously, if you were with us for the last session, you know we tackled the leaven you can't see. We spent a lot of time on that. That obsession with managing your reputation instead of dealing with the rot in your heart. It was heavy. Honestly, it was a little uncomfortable to look in the mirror after that one.
It was necessary, though. You can't build a kingdom life on a foundation of image management. It crumbles under pressure.
Right. But today feels, I don't know, strangely personal. We're pivoting to a topic that on the surface sounds harmless. In fact, it sounds great. We're talking about comfort.
Yeah.
The title for this session is When Comfort Becomes Your Prison.
It's a title that usually makes people want to check their phone or something.
I almost did. Look, I'm just going to confess this right up front. I fit that high-achieving Western Christian profile pretty perfectly. I work hard, I grind, and because of that, I feel like I've earned my rest. I've earned my comfort.
It's the reward.
It's my reward. So when you tell me my comfort might be a prison, my defenses go straight up. I mean, why is feeling good a bad thing?
And that reaction, that defensiveness, is exactly why we need to stop for a second. Before we even get into the text, we have to reestablish the ground rules. We have to do the Valley disclaimer.
The Valley disclaimer. Okay, go for it.
We need to be crystal clear with everyone listening. We are not theologians. We are not, speaking from some polished stage or a seminary classroom.
No.
We are practitioners, and we are teaching from the Valley.
And we're roughly 2 months into a really intensive Bible study. This is happening to us in real time.
Exactly. This is raw. This is what we're wrestling with this week.
Yeah.
It's not polished doctrine. It's survival in the kingdom. We are in the trenches right there with you.
And just to orient everyone, where are we in the bigger picture?
So the roadmap for this whole season is specific. Phase 1, which is episodes 1 through 7, is all about demolishing personal idols. That's where we are right now.
Okay.
Phase 2, which is episodes 8 through 14, is going to get into systemic church idols. And then episode 15 is just the rubble, where we start to rebuild.
So we are still very much in the demolition phase. Great.
We are. And today, the wrecking ball is aimed squarely at your sofa.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to push back here because the common defense, and I'm hearing it in my own head right now, is, balance is biblical, right? Sabbath is biblical. God rested. So aren't I just being wise by avoiding pain and seeking a little bit of comfort?
That is the argument we all use. It's the burnout defense.
But it's valid. We live in a burnout culture. Everyone is exhausted. If I come home and just sink into the couch or binge a show or just want a quiet life, I'm not trying to escape God. I'm trying to survive Tuesday.
Right.
Is that really a sin? Isn't Sabbath literally a command to get comfortable and rest?
That is the most dangerous kind of idol, the one that hides behind a Bible verse. You're confusing restoration with numbing.
What's the difference?
Sabbath restores you so you can go back to the front lines. It's strategic. The comfort prison keeps you safe, so you never have to go back out at all. It's just avoidance.
Avoidance of what?
Avoidance of the mission. Avoidance of the cross. I mean, think about it. You've built this cell yourself. It's made of throw pillows and streaming subscriptions and safety. And here's the kicker. The door isn't even locked.
So I can leave whenever I want.
Theoretically. But you refuse to leave. Why? Because outside that door, it's uncomfortable. Outside that door is risk. So you stay in this cell of comfort, you call it peace, when really it's just fear.
Wow. That hits hard. It reminds me of that term you used before, the thermostat Christian.
The thermostat Christian. This is the diagnosis for most of us in the West. I mean, think about how a thermostat works. You set a comfortable range, right?
Sure, 70 degrees, maybe 72 if I'm feeling crazy.
Exactly. And as a thermostat Christian, you adjust your obedience based on the temperature of the situation. So if obedience requires a little discomfort, like a mild financial pinch or a slightly awkward conversation, you'll do it. You stay in the range.
Okay, I'm following. It's manageable obedience.
But what happens if the heat gets too high? If obedience means actual suffering or loss of reputation or a major financial hit or deep pain, what do you do?
I turn down the commitment. I regulate the temperature back to where I'm comfortable.
You adjust your obedience to match your comfort level.
Yeah.
You serve Jesus until it gets hot.
Man, I admit that resonates. I think about the hard conversations I've avoided, at work or with family. I tell myself I'm being wise or keeping the peace.
Right.
But if I'm really honest, it's just fear. It's fear masquerading as wisdom because I don't want to feel the heat.
And that is why comfort is a prison. It dictates your limits. You can only go as far as your comfort allows. But the kingdom call is to go way past the safety zone.
Okay, wait. So if I stop being a thermostat Christian, if I stop regulating the heat, I'm going to get burned. That's just a fact. And honestly, I don't want to get burned. It sounds like you're saying we should actually be looking for trouble.
No.
Is that the strategy? Just seek out pain for pain's sake? Because that doesn't sound holy. That sounds like masochism.
And it would be masochism if suffering was the point.
Yeah.
But in the kingdom economy, suffering isn't the goal.
Right.
It's technology.
Technology.
It's a mechanism. Or, even better, a weapon. This is where 1 Peter 4 just flips the entire script on us.
I have it right here. 1 Peter 4, verses 1 and 2. It reads, "Since Christ suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves also with the same mind, for he who has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin."
Arm yourselves. That is the key phrase that changes everything.
Okay, let's get into the Greek on this one. What does that actually mean?
The Greek word is hoplizō. Right. It's where we get the word hoplite, the heavily armed Greek soldier. I mean, think about it like this. If you walk into a riot in a t-shirt, you're terrified. Every rock, every shout makes you flinch. You're reactive because you're vulnerable.
Because I can get hurt. I'm totally exposed.
Exactly. But if you put on the heavy armor, if you hoplizō, you walk into that same chaos completely calm. The rocks just bounce off. The threats don't land. Peter isn't saying, hey, if suffering happens, just grit your teeth. He is saying, put on the willingness to suffer as your body armor.
How does a willingness to suffer act like armor? I'm not totally tracking.
Well, think about how sin controls you. What is sin's leverage? It either bribes you with comfort, do this and you'll feel good, or it threatens you with pain. If you do the right thing, you'll be embarrassed, you'll be poor, you'll be lonely.
Just the carrot and the stick.
Right. But if you have armed yourself with the mind of Christ, if you've already decided, I am willing to suffer for this, I am willing to die to my own comfort, then sin has no leverage. You've already accepted the worst case scenario.
So the threat doesn't work anymore.
Exactly. You can't threaten a dead man with death. You can't threaten a man who has chosen the cross with pain. If you are willing to suffer, the flesh loses its control. That's what Peter means by he who has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin. It doesn't mean you're perfect. It means sin has lost its ability to boss you around.
You become invincible because you've already decided to die.
Yes.
That connects to Romans 6, right? That whole idea of the crucified flesh.
In Galatians 5.24, those who are Christ's have crucified the flesh with its passions and desires. It's an active execution, not a passive retirement.
But this idea of execution feels miles away from the version of Christianity a lot of us grew up with. We're told Christianity is about abundant life, which usually gets translated as a nice life.
The Western gospel.
Yeah, the Western gospel treats the cross as a one-time event. You know, you pray the prayer, get the salvation insurance, and maybe you wear a cross necklace. It's jewelry. It's decoration.
But listen to Luke 9.23. Read that for us.
Luke 9.23, "If anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me."
There are two massive things in that verse that just demolish the comfort idol. First, that Greek word for deny, arniomai, means to disown, to renounce. It's actually the same word used when Peter denied Jesus. It means to look at your own self, your own desires, your comfort, your plans, and say, I don't know you. You are not in charge here.
That's brutal. Especially in a culture that is screaming at you to find yourself, be true to yourself, treat yourself.
The culture says find yourself. The kingdom says disown yourself. It's completely inverted. And then there's the second word, daily.
Take up his cross daily.
Yeah. The American gospel promises a vacation. It promises that if you follow Jesus, your life will get smoother, richer, easier. It implies retirement.
But the kingdom gospel implies an execution march.
Every single day. You wake up and you choose the cross. You choose to die to your preference. You choose to die to your thermostat.
But practically, what does that look like? I mean, I'm not walking to a literal Golgotha every morning.
No, but you are walking into meetings where you want to take credit, and you have to die to that.
Yeah.
You're walking into your living room where you want to just check out and ignore your family, and you have to die to that. It's 1,000 small deaths.
I can feel the tension in this conversation right now. I can feel the listener and myself thinking, okay, I get the logic, but this just sounds exhausting.
It sounds impossible.
It sounds like a grind, daily death, arming myself for battle. Where is the grace in all this? Where is the rest? Because if the Christian life is just me gritting my teeth and marching to an execution, I'm going to burn out in a week.
And that is the paradox.
Yeah.
That is why we have to go to Matthew 11.2830.
The famous come to me passage, come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
This is one of the most misunderstood passages in the entire Bible
Yeah.
because we stop at the word rest. But look at the mechanism for that rest.
Take my yoke upon you.
A yoke. A yoke is a tool for work. It's a heavy wooden beam they use to couple oxen together to pull a plow. Jesus is offering a yoke.
So he's not offering a hammock.
No, but he says his yoke is easy. And the Greek word there is Christos.
Christos.
It means kind, manageable, fit for use. So here's the synthesis. The yoke is easy, but you are still yoked.
So the rest doesn't come from having nothing to do.
The rest doesn't come from avoidance. That's the comfort prison again. That's you trying to escape the plow. True rest comes from submission.
Explain that connection. How does adding a wooden beam to my neck give me rest?
Okay, picture two oxen yoked together.
Yeah.
If one is massive and strong, let's say that's Jesus, and the other one is smaller and weaker, that's you.
Got it.
If the small ox tries to go left towards the grass, towards comfort, while the big ox is going straight, what happens?
The yoke chafes, it drags, it hurts.
Exactly. The pain comes from the resistance. The exhaustion comes from fighting the direction of the master. We are so tired because we're trying to drag the plow alone, or worse, we're dragging against him, trying to manage our own comfort while he is moving toward the mission.
That makes so much sense. So the reason I'm so tired isn't because the demands of the kingdom are too hard. It's because I'm fighting the yoke.
You're trying to serve Jesus and your thermostat at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And that friction is just exhausting. You can't do both.
Okay, so we submit to the yoke. We accept the daily cross. We arm ourselves with suffering. What is the result? Why go through all this training? Because frankly, nobody signs up for boot camp just for the fun of it. There has to be an outcome.
That's the right word. Training. Hebrews 12.11 addresses this perfectly.
Hebrews 12.11. No chastening seems joyful for the present, but painful. Nevertheless, afterward yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it.
And there's a Greek word here that defines the whole process. Paideia. It refers to the training, discipline, and education of a child. It's not punishment for a crime. It's preparation for a destiny.
And the timeline there really matters.
Afterward. The fruit comes after the pain.
That's the part we hate. We want the fruit during the comfort.
Think about the gym. You don't build muscle while you are lifting the weight. Lifting the weight tears the muscle fiber. It hurts. It's destructive.
The growth happens in the recovery. After.
The growth is the response to the stress. The prosperity gospel, or maybe we should call it the comfort gospel, tells you that you can have the muscles without the lifting. It tells you faith means everything goes your way. But the kingdom gospel says the pain is the mechanism of growth.
It reminds me of James 1. Count it all joy when you fall into various trials. Why? Because trials produce endurance.
And 2 Corinthians 12.9 strength is made perfect in weakness. The Western church so often wants the resurrection without the crucifixion. But you cannot have one without the other. The fruit of righteousness, that deep, unshakable peace, is grown in the soil of discipline.
So, if I'm being really honest with myself, I've been calling my avoidance peace. I've been calling my comfort a blessing, but really, I've just been afraid of the training. I've been skipping leg day for 10 years and wondering why I'm spiritually weak.
You've been worshiping the thermostat, and God loves you too much to leave you there.
So where do we go from here? If I'm listening to this and realizing, okay, I'm the thermostat Christian, I'm the one turning down the obedience when it gets hot, what do I do?
You have to ask yourself a very specific, very uncomfortable question. And I want to distinguish here between hardship and sacrifice. Everyone deals with hardship. Your car breaks down, you get the flu. That's just life on a fallen planet.
Right.
That's not carrying your cross. That's just existing.
Okay, so what's the distinction?
I'm asking.
Yeah.
When was the last time you manufactured a crisis for yourself because Jesus asked you to?
Manufactured a crisis. Wow,
Yeah.
that is a haunting phrase.
When did you look at a perfectly safe, comfortable career path and just detonate it because the Spirit said go? When did you look at a secure bank account and drain it for a cause that offers you zero ROI? When did you have the hard conversation you knew would make things awkward just because it was true?
That's the test.
If you only suffer when life attacks you, you're a victim. If you suffer because you obeyed, you're a soldier.
Because the American gospel promises comfort. The kingdom gospel promises a cross.
One is a vacation. The other is a weapon. You can't be armed for battle while you're asleep on the couch.
That's the image right there.
So here's the provocation, and this isn't just something to think about, it's something you have to answer. When's the last time you obeyed God into suffering?
Mm.
Not hard things happening to you. When did you choose obedience knowing it would cost your comfort?
Who are you serving, Jesus or your thermostat?
It's time to unlock the door and walk out of that prison.
That is where we are going to leave you. Sit with that, struggle with it, and join us next time for episode 6. We're going even deeper. The title is The Suffering You're Refusing. We're going to talk about the weapon you won't pick up. You don't want to miss it. We'll see you then.